a sight for my soul.
What's up? What's good? What's happening? Welcome to my live stream. I am the actual King Smith, and this is a Wednesday vlog. That's going to be a little bit different today in that I am doing a book review on the now finished my bad. The book called Never Finished by David Goggins, which I just finished about 10 minutes ago. All right. This book was published in 2022, and it is a follow-up to David Goggins' first book that was published called My Notes Disappeared, and now I'm trying to bring it back up. Why does everything want to mess up right before the live stream? His first book was called Can't Hurt Me. All right. And the follow-up to his book was immediately after he gained a level of fame and notoriety for being one of the most badass dudes on the planet. But as you're reading the book Never Finished, you'll realize a couple of different things, all right? So if you've heard of David Goggins, you've seen the video, You Don't Know Me, Son, where he's, getting after it in the gym. You know by now that he's been in the Guinness Book of World Records for pull-ups. You know his story as a Naval SEAL, his failed attempt into Air Force pararescue, and things like that. But what I didn't know until I read his book, Never Finished, was the dude almost had a third stint in the military over the age of 40. So the book Never Finished, it seems like it picks up from the David Goggins that is known for his fame and notoriety, and trying to figure out how you tackle things in life and goals in life when you've been to the mountaintop, when you've been there, done that. In his first book, he talked a lot about his past, how he grew up in a pretty racist area, how his dad physically abused his mom, how he felt as though he had a grandparent that, didn't necessarily love him, but showed him a little bit more tough love. And he talked more about his granddad, who was a World War II vet, who came to his Air Force basic military training graduation and was proud of him. But he never said that. He could just see it on his face. In both books, he talked about how, as a kid or a person that stutters, which some people don't know this about me, I also have a speech impediment. I was in speech therapy for a good bit when I was in my younger grades, up until middle school age, roughly. All right. And I still struggle with it. I still struggle with my fluency at times. I'm what's called a covert stutterer. But that doesn't stop me from coming on and doing these live streams. It doesn't stop me from teaching or consulting around how to build up your online presence and things like that, because I don't like to have obstacles keep me from doing the things that I want to do. My biggest takeaway and what I liked about the book Never Finished was that Goggins didn't write about himself or talk about himself in a way that made him seem like he was better than, right? This is a guy that went through multiple surgeries, had a heart attack after his first book was listed as a national bestseller. This is a guy who he talked about in the book Never Finished, how when he was looking at trying to get his first book published, he had some connects and different things, and some of the best agents out there basically shut the door on him, telling him, I just don't see your story selling. So he decided, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to self-publish this thing myself. And that's something that I love about that kind of attitude. I'll be approaching 40 this year, and too often when people are talking about things that they want to do, there's a lot of self-doubt about what they are trying to get accomplished as well. And there's nothing wrong with self-doubt, but you have to have a mindset to tackle the things that you need to tackle to accomplish that goal. It is frustrating to me knowing that there are people that are out there that are a lot more talented than I am, that are a lot more smarter than I am, but can't seem to grasp why I'm in the position that I'm in, when they're a lot more talented and smarter than me. And it's because I've got the mindset that I'm going to outwork you. And that's something that my uncle Nate, if you're watching, I need for you to listen and listen closely. My uncle Nate was one of the ones that left a lot of life lessons to me when I was a youngster, and some things that I still keep a hold of. Yet, Nate, I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire. I'm gonna need for you to also have a lot more discipline and stay the task and keep focused yourself. When Nate decides to work hard, he is then going to be the hardest working person around. And I don't care who you are. I don't think my uncle Nate could outwork David Goggins if he decided to put his mind to it. And that's what David Goggins talks about in his book, Never Finish. And I believe that that's the right title for that book, because he's explaining that, look, I've got the notoriety, I've got fame. When he talked about joining the military for his third stint, he said a line in there where he talked about how he could make more money in a year during a couple of paid speaking engagements than he would be as an enlisted person. But it wasn't about the money for him. It wasn't about the fame for him. And I thought that that was fantastic. All right. So we've got a couple of people here in the comments that I want to acknowledge before I go on to some of the next points that I have. We got Will Buchanan in the building. Shout out to Perry Productions. Grooming and Reviews is in the building. Said, yo, what's going on? Hey, man, I appreciate you popping in. My lady said, Nathaniel Smith, King thanked you for all that you poured into him. And then we got Angie Trust. Angie, what up? I'm going to send you a message on the Facebook Messenger, let you know that I'm going to be up towards your way and when. See if you got some time to link up or whatnot. All right. Now, there were some key points that I want to talk about from David Goggins' book that helped revitalize me on some things that I'm going to lean into going forward for the rest of 2024. All right. It was key throughout that David Goggins talked about other people in his life that helped him do the things that he accomplished. David Goggins is a guy that has ran several or more than one 200-mile races. Okay. I don't know anybody in their right mind who would want to do one 200-mile race. He's done several 100-mile races at this point. So now you're talking about doing 200 miles. As you can imagine, you can't do a 200-mile competition without help. So in Never Finish, David talked about the people that he had around him, the people that knew what his mindset was like too, that wouldn't allow him to just give up. There was one particular moment that was extremely funny, in which he talked about how he went for his first attempt at doing the 200-mile competition, and he got a did not finish, which means officially he did not complete it. He had a medical incident come up that took him out the race. And once he got that medical incident cleared up, his people around him knew what type of person that he was, and then basically prepped themselves for when David decided that he was going to get up and still finish the race unofficially, because he wanted to do a personal milestone of completing his first ever 200-mile competition. So he went back out after getting out of the hospital, after understanding everything that he was going through physically, and he finished that 200-mile competition with his crew, changing their plans and helping him finishing. And I thought that was fantastic. And the key thing that reminded me is that when you're doing things, you want to have people around you that no matter what are going to be there to give you the support that you need to get through, that are going to know the type of person that you have. And one of the people that is critical is somebody who he calls Quiche. Her name is Jennifer. Let me double check this. I want to make sure that I say her name right. Jennifer Quiche, Kish. Not sure if they're married, but he talks about her throughout. Now, from what I could gather prior to doing this live stream, David Goggins had been married once, maybe twice in the past. Once, for sure, his first marriage lasted 2 years. In his first book, I know he talked about his first wife and the influence and stuff that she had, and it doesn't sound like they ended on bad terms. It seemed like what David wanted to do in life and what she and how she supported him just didn't align. Or it seemed like she was supportive, but he wanted some things that she wasn't ready for. That's the way I understand it. I don't know David personally. I would love to meet him and shake his hand. There are two people in life that I would love to meet and shake their hands. One of them is President Barack Obama, and the second one is David Goggins. I think the third would probably be The Rock, right? He has a pretty interesting story. And while he's physically in better shape than the average person, it's not just his natural physical gifts that is keeping him there. The Rock is one of the people that outworks everybody. The King and Me over on Facebook said, please know that you are surrounded by people who will not allow you to fail and will continue to support you in all things. Thank you. I know that. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to say it as clear as I can. If you don't have people around you that support you, that are anchors, I say this all the time on all of my live streams. I don't care if it's family. I don't care if it's friends. You got to drop them out of your life or keep them at arm's distance. And David Goggins talks about that in his book, Never Finished. He talks about how you don't necessarily need to remove them, but you got to keep them at arm's length because, as Kobe once famously said, job's not done, right? In Never Finish, you get the timeline of David post success, right? And how this fool is still trying to become a smoke jumper, which is basically a firefighter and a para rescueman combined into one. These are people that if you can't get behind or get through a fire on the ground, these are people that will fly in the air and jump out to try to keep the fire contained before something's like a 5-alarm fire or whatever it's called. And he's doing this at the age of 40, 47 to be specific. I can't think of anybody in their right mind after going through and being a Navy SEAL who wants to, at the age of 47, still jump out of airplanes after you have 2 jacked up knees and had just had surgery several months prior to you going through this smoke jumpers training. There was a particular story that David told in this book as well about how somebody had recognized him on a run, and it was a particularly hot day. And the person, while David was running, pulled up in a car beside him and was like, hey, man, I can't believe you're out here running in this heat. And David said, it's because I'm not you. You can't believe that because I'm not you. You aren't me, right? Pushing yourself through that after all of those surgeries, after David talked about how he was almost 300 pounds at one point. He says that it's not about your physical makeup, it's about this. It's that mindset. The mindset is the thing that I'm constantly talking about because I've gotten to the point where I can hear somebody talk. I can ask them certain questions and I can tell exactly where their mindset is at and give a pretty good ballpark of how their next 5 years is going to go because of their mindset. It's one of the things that people have developed courses on. Folks are paid handsomely to talk about. You don't have to be in the field of psychology to really understand this stuff. There's plenty of books out there that talks about how if you change your mindset, you can change your life. And David talks about that in this book. He talks about how when you've climbed and you've gotten to the top, you're never finished if you have a certain mindset of wanting to achieve the next best thing for yourself, not for anybody else, but for yourself. He talks about how he takes a humility fall down so that he can enjoy what he's trying to accomplish and his own goals for himself. He talked about how there was a guy in the Air Force Academy who was awarded the Medal of Honor, who had went back to he was an enlisted guy, went to war, awarded a Medal of Honor, and returned to the Air Force Academy to work as a janitor. And a lot of the cadets initially didn't necessarily know who this guy was. And that here you had this person who was a janitor that worked at the Air Force Academy, who was a Medal of Honor a recipient. And there were some cadets who did find out. And that changed the respect that they had of this guy. I find it interesting. I find this book, Never Finished, fascinating. And it easily gets a recommendation from me. If reading isn't your thing, buy the audiobook. On YouTube, I put a link to the to Amazon where you can purchase the book. If you're looking to find some type of internal motivation to do that next best thing, I think that either one of David Goggins' books can help you get there. I'm trying to see if I have his other book right here next to me. I do not, but I've purchased Never Finished, and just finished it. And it is easily a book that I will recommend for somebody to check out. There's a couple of people that when I'm consuming content, they talk about various books all of the time. A guy that I was stationed with who's made a pretty good name for himself in certain circles, Michael Sartain. Mike has a list of books that he tells people to read. And I'm going to see if I can find his book list and go through those books as well. So this is my first book review. I'm going to give myself a B- on it. But the next book review that I'm going to do is going to be a month from now. I don't know what it is. I'm going to find a book, pick a book, read it, and then come online and talk about it. But if anybody has any suggestions of books that I should read, put it in the comment section. Put the name of the book and the author. Let me know. I'll add it to my list and check it out. I should create some type of online book repo that I can get as well, so that I can put the books that I've read up there and books that people have recommended. All right. So that is my live stream for today for my book review. I'm going to finish by talking about being on TRT. I'm week 2 of being on TRT. It could be a placebo effect. I want to reiterate this, but I feel more vitality in life. All right. My testosterone was really low. For those of y'all that don't know, TRT is testosterone replacement therapy. This is my second week on it, and it's been fantastic for me. All right. I'm going to keep giving updates, come back here, doing my vlogs, doing my book reviews and things, and keeping this thing going. The main thing that I want people to understand, and it didn't just come from reading this book. If you've caught my live streams in the past, I always talk about your mindset. If you change your mindset, you can change your life. All right. Let's see. Angie says, sounds like you're about to start boxing soon. Hey, folks ain't ready for thunder and lightning. I don't know. I got these T-Rex arms. I think if I got in the boxing ring, it might not go well for me. But you know what? That might be my next challenge. All right. Get in the ring, do a little, what is it? 1, 2, 3. I don't know what 4 is, Yeah. Oh man. All right. That's my live stream for the day. My daughter asked if I could go watch a comedy special with her tonight prior to heading to bed. So I'm about to go do that. Hope y'all enjoyed the rest of your day, and I will be back next week. I'm out. Peace.